Welcome to Top 4. My name is Peter. I'm an Arsenal fan. I'm joined by Oscar, a Chelsea fan.
Come on, lads. The season is almost here. We're coming back. 1 more month to go. Lampard's boys are soon back in action.
I'm joined by Adrian, a Liverpool fan.
15 years ago today, on the 25th of the 5th, 2005, the greatest comeback since Lazarus happened, as Liverpool claimed their 5th Champions League. 5th of 6th, by the way. Come on, what a beautiful day.
Are you sure wasn't better than Istanbul, the 3-3?
Istanbul.
Nah, one won the Champions League, like, against AC Milan. I am joined by David, an Arsenal fan.
I'm a blood clot, Jan. Shut up, man. You're done. No, you need a trim still.
Don't we all, mate? I'm joined by Robin, a Manchester United fan.
Blood, football is coming back, which I don't know. I'm a little excited, but I miss getting frustrated at my team. I've got to that point. I miss football that much. But yeah, no.
You miss getting frustrated at your team?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's hilarious. That is hilarious, fam.
That's
all right, people. So, the Bundesliga round 2 has started, happened over the weekend. Any games you lot in particular, any games in particular you lot picked up on that was of interest?
You got banged.
RB Leipzig gave the biz to Mainz 5-0. Timo won a hat-trick. And that's
Liverpool.
Mainz held the corn that weekend, brother. I can't lie.
Hey, Peter, do you know why Werner did that?
Why?
Because he heard you a couple of weeks ago say that it wasn't prolific.
I hear that, bruv. I can't wait for you to spend 70 million and he scores as many goals as Firmino.
I swear.
But we'll keep that. We can keep that one moving.
Okay.
See, the thing with Werner, yeah. When you watch the way Leipzig play, like they've got a good side. They play good football. They pass and move and all this and that. But I'm not sold by Werner because even though he scored, his goals are like they're like replace right time goals. Do you know what I mean? They don't show outstanding quality. So it's one of those ones where what he's doing, he has to do it bare time in order for him to be considered that great. Do you know what I mean?
I agree.
Oscar, I hear what you're saying, but this takes me back to I think it was 2012 when Papi Cisse came in the scene and he was scoring worldies every other week. He scored the banana goal against Chelsea, and then Paul Merson of all people, he came and he said, "Well, you know what? He's scoring a load of goals, but they're all quality goals. They're all worldies, and they're not necessarily sustainable. That you can not necessarily be able to do that week in, week out. Whereas he said that Timo Werner is in the right place at the right time. Guess what? Over the course of a season, you're gonna be in the right place in the right time, and you're gonna put the ball in the net. So actually, I think that's actually quite a good telling sign for me. If a striker's constantly in the right, because I feel football's a game of law of averages, wherein if you're doing the right thing the right amount of times, it's gonna pay dividends. So if it comes to a side like Liverpool, where we do create a fair bit, I think he will clap goals as well. I have to be honest.
And the fact that he's got 24 goals in the Bundesliga alone this season, I think it's his turnaround has been very good, especially in the past few seasons. I'm not sure if he's worth 70 million, but he is warranted a move to a bigger club.
I wonder where Liverpool would fit him, though. Say that again, Oscar?
No, because Robin said that he wouldn't be around 70 mil, but these are the figures we're talking, innit? Like when his transfer is named, it's not no small £40 million transfer. It's a big time one.
The question I'd ask though is where will he fit in Liverpool's team? Where's he going to play? Who are you going to drop for Timo Werner?
Firmino.
Really?
Yeah.
Adrian, what do you have to say to that? Because that might run up the flow.
It might potentially, and I think ultimately that's the slippery slope that Jurgen Klopp is going to have to deal with, because what Firmino doesn't make up for in numbers. And by the way, I think I read somewhere that in Liverpool's history, Firmino has like the 4th most assists, which sort of blew my mind. But I think what Firmino lacks in terms of goal scoring, in terms of output in that capacity, his all-round game makes up for. So the risk is obviously if you take Firmino out of that, you lose that. However, that's not necessarily the only way to play football as well. And I do feel like, myself included, I think Liverpool fans have perhaps overstated Firmino's ability and what Firmino brings. Because don't get me wrong, Firmino brings a lot, but that's not necessary. There's more than one way to skin a cat, so to speak. So, and also, that it doesn't necessarily mean Firmino's done. We could do 4-2-3-1. There's other sort of variations we can play as well. So yeah, but we do need a change. We need something different. Though. I do admit that.
Yeah, so Leipzig, obviously 5-0 winners at Mainz. Question, do you think teams that are playing behind closed doors that are at home are at a disadvantage in a weird way because of the advantage they probably had over this time? Because it looks like now the football is more, it's more quality-based, I guess, between teams. Because the home teams, I don't know if it's just me, but especially last weekend and then watching this weekend, I'm thinking, teams... Like there's a few like this. Okay, this weekend, for example, right? I think only one team won from home. 2 teams won at home this weekend, and I just wondered whether the quality is just, is it quality? Is it does it take away the fact that not having fans means bloody hell we're a man down here?
I don't think so, because you're going for the rest of the season. That's all you're going to get. So now it's just not about the rally behind you. It's more about you as a footballer and you as a team playing on grass. Who is the better team? And you can see it. For example, last week, Dortmund showed that they're the better team than Schalke. And even when they went to have a cagey fight at Wolfsburg, they still showed the quality that there is. So I don't think it's a disadvantage to anyone, really. It's just right now, it's like, all right, cool. There's no distractions. Who's the better team, me or you?
I think there's something to be said about the fact that, it mainly is just a big coincidence, I think. It's not that big a deal. But on one hand, there is the idea that the team who is away, they are still traveling away. So if you're Dortmund and you're going to Wolfsburg, you still have to make that journey as though you're playing an away game. So there's still that, like it's not going to feel much different for an away team. Whereas a home team playing in their home stadium with no crowd, it's going to feel particularly eerie.
And I think for teams as well that maybe aren't perhaps the best technically, it's clear, as cliche as it sounds, they do use the 12th. They do need that 12th man. They do need that extra bit from within that. You can't necessarily coach that. If you're going for 50-50. That clap, that roar from the crowd, it really, really sort of gets you going. And let's face it, once you haven't necessarily got the technical ability to sort of deal with that, i.e. a Bayern, i.e. a Dortmund, if you're a Mainz and if you do perhaps rely on your fan support and you haven't got that for the rest of the season, it can be a big, big blow.
You're dead, bro.
So now it's more of a
you're a dead team, bro. That's what you.
I mean. I don't know about you, man, but very quickly, like I didn't watch all the football this weekend. The only game I watched was Mönchengladbach Leverkusen because I was, rooting for Gladbach to win. But Leverkusen they're a great side as well. But I don't know. They got held that work. However, in the game, like the way I think it was like 1-0 or 2. I think was it 2-0? It was either like 2-1, 2-0. The game was going in the Gladbach direction. Like I think they had a chance where they could have had a penalty shout, and I think then it went down the other end, and then Leverkusen scored on a counter attack. Kai Havertz, by the way, is a superb player, and whoever gets their hands on him, honestly, that kid, he's good. He's bloody good. But I just found myself like I remember seeing I was in and out of the Dortmund game, but it was just boring to me. I didn't really kick on it. The Bayern game, like you want to talk about giving the business. Frankfurt, by the way, like people are talking about. I think we even spoke about this not long ago. The defending that Frankfurt have at the minute is unbelievable. They can't defend to save their lives. They are conceding goals.
They did come back very quickly. At one point, I was like, hold on. It's 3-2 at that point, or 3-0. Yeah.
But to be fair, that's been Frankfurt's story this season.
But do you not think like the poor defending is just simply down to the rustiness of these guys have not kicked ball for a minute? They're back and they're playing competitive matches. And I feel like you can see that in the goals that are being scored.
Just to factor that in, I guess.
Nah, Frankfurt are trash.
Frankfurt's defending has been trash, but okay, look, you might have a point, Oscar, because look, Mainz conceded 5. Who else conceded? Schalke at home conceded 3. Do you know what I'm saying? And you got obviously Frankfurt conceded 5. Yeah, I mean, Union Berlin ate some corn as well on Friday night, but like everybody's in the same boat. Everybody's rusty. Do you know them ones? So maybe it's come down to like, okay, who's had the best recovery? Who's had the best training in this off period? Maybe that's a factor. And if that's what you want to go with, then all right, fair enough. But everybody's been dealt the same cards, the same deck of cards. Do you get what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. Let's see in it. Other leagues are looking to start up, like La Liga. We heard as well. They're looking to kick on. Premier League will probably be later on in June. We'll see. And if there's a common thread elsewhere, then maybe there's a point. But I feel like I'm sure I saw Frankfurt's defending like this at the start of the season. Yeah, I'm sure. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure Bayern were putting 5 past teams. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. I don't really know.
I think another sort of good indicator is when we sort of look at some of our youngsters that actually go over there. So I'll give you an example. Don't get me wrong, this isn't necessarily an indication of his ability, but like the likes of Jadon Sancho couldn't necessarily get a kick at Man City. He's over there tearing it up. Reece Nelson can't really get a kick at Arsenal. Before his sort of disciplinary issues at Hoffenheim, he went there. He also tore up the league. I suspect the same would have been said for Callum Hudson-Odoi as well. So I think we do have to sort of acknowledge that there is a lower level of defensive quality in that league, hence why teams run riot. Because I feel like there's a disparity. I feel like the good teams are very, very good, and then as you trickle down the table, they're diabolical, man. Diabolical.
Yeah. And they don't do well in Europe, isn't it? The ones that are lower than the top 4, let's say. When it comes to Europe, I don't see Germany being represented well in European competition, and it's bizarre. I don't know. It's maybe that's not their forte anymore. But I always thought of Germany as such a robust and tough team from like the early 2000s and the late 90s, and defending was one of their things. But you look at the leagues now, and it's so easy now. Come.
And also, I think it's almost become a feeder league, if that makes sense. Wherein, so we were earlier talking about Kai Havertz, either Bayern Munich or another top European side are going to snap him up. We're talking about Frankfurt. Frankfurt literally sold their best 3 players. Well, they lost 3 of them. I think 2. So they lost Jovic, they lost Haller, and then I think Rebic went to Milan on loan as well. So do you think maybe that's perhaps another reason as to why there's such a disparity? Because it's ultimately become a breeding ground and a cultivator of good talent for them to then sort of proliferate to your La Ligas, your Serie A's, and your Premier Leagues.
I think so. I think you got a point there. I think it has become a feeder thing. The next stop is Bayern or outside. Do you know the ones that seems to be the go-to? So when you look at Bayern Munich's first 11, none of them, if maybe 3 of them came from Munich. You know what I'm saying? And so it is very much a breeding ground. But are you lot still enjoying the Bundesliga at the minute? Are you still entertained?
Well, it depends on the game, really. Like I said, I'll follow the big game. So I'll watch the Clasica tomorrow. I'll watch that.
Massive game, that one. Massive one.
Huge game.
That will
must win.
That will determine. Yeah, that I think for me, whoever wins that wins the title. That's how important I think the game is.
It still depends on Bayern after that. So even if Dortmund win, I don't think. Yeah, even if Dortmund win, it's still 1 point. And Bayern can hold on to that 1 point.
They could, but I think the momentum is like Dortmund have had 2 very impressive wins the last 2 weekends, right? For them to go and beat Bayern, the momentum is with Dortmund, and the fact that you have to hope Bayern do not drop a single point between now and the end of the season. Now, you could say the same argument for Dortmund, but it will be clear to me that Dortmund is on this trail that they're riding high alongside, let's say, Leverkusen. But Leverkusen are a bit too far. But But yeah, to me, I think if they can get in the heads, if they can get in the head, if Dortmund lose this game, title's done. It's over. But if Dortmund win this game, I think Bayern will have to do everything in their might to retain that title this year if they can. I don't see any weakness in Bayern, don't get me wrong. And I could very much see Dortmund collapsing. That's what they do best. But if they do get a win, then, mate, it's beyond impressive.
Yeah.
I just think if we look at the game tomorrow, we just look at key players. And right now, Bayern's defense is better than Dortmund's, especially with Alphonso Davies, who's doing a madness at left back.
I mean, but I'm sure, Dortmund.
Well, you look at the colours of this podcast, I think we have to root for Dortmund. We have no other choice. I mean, it's on brand for us to root for Dortmund. But I do agree with Robin. I think Bayern just looked too strong. Like you mentioned that Dortmund have won their 2 games, but Bayern have also won their 2 games. So going into this game, the form is like, it's like pretty much the same. I think Bayern.
But I'd say Dortmund's wins are far more impressive because to win the derby is one thing. They've only won 1 derby, I think, in the last 7 games, in the last 7 attempts. And then to beat Wolfsburg away, fair enough, Wolfsburg had 10 men. Say what you want about Wolfsburg, but they went to Wolfsburg and won there. So, and I don't think they've conceded a goal since they've come back. So the fact that, you can say someone's defense is better, but yeah, go on. Go ahead,
but also, Bayern don't even look like they're out of second gear. Like they look like they're playing training friendly matches. Like it's just a kickabout. And I mean,
sometimes that could seem like, okay, maybe there's something left in the can for them, yeah. But Dortmund are playing. I think they're playing not at their limit. Let me not say that. But Dortmund are in third gear. They're comfortably cruising along. And I think if you're saying to me that, I think Bayern are going to turn it on, I don't think it necessarily just works like that in football. If one team come on the momentum of, they've got 6 goals in the last 2 games, conceding none, 2 very impressive victories, then you got to do a lot to break that down mentally. Unless Bayern come out of the gates, get an early goal, first 10 minutes, and then it will silence the crowd. If you get what I mean. But I'm not saying Bayern can't win. I think Bayern are the favourite. But if Dortmund win, then, watch this space is what I'd say.
But I also think, if Dortmund lose, then that's well and truly title race over.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a top 4 battle, isn't it? It's a Champions League battle, boy. That's it.
So it's a very, very friendly game. Very, very friendly points. A lot riding on it.
Yeah, there's a lot of things riding on it. Is there anything else from the Bundesliga that you guys had your eye on before we move on to other things?
The Berlin derby, gave it a watch. I was like, okay. I never knew Hertha could be like that. It seems like they've had a massive turnaround.
See, this is the point to my earlier question. With no crowd, right? Union Berlin have been good this season. They've been very, very good this season, right? And the crowd is one of the things everyone talks about when you talk about their games, yeah? It's one of those. But and Hertha have been awful this season. They've been diabolical. But if you put both teams on paper, Hertha have to be winning this game. There's no excuse as to why Union should be winning this game. So the fact that Hertha won, I'm thinking, okay, normal service resumed. However, the form this season suggests this is actually an upset in a weird way.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Do you know what I mean? So that's the thing. Hertha, going into this game, if you said there was a crowd, I'd say Union win. I'd even go that far. I'd say Union would win because they will take. I heard Hertha's away allocation is something like 35,000.
Yeah,
it's that insane.
It's big.
It's that insane. So you imagine them 30. I remember Dortmund went up to Hertha, and literally the whole part of the stadium was covered in yellow, and it was just like they had more. There was more Dortmund fans than there were Hertha. It was hilarious, absolutely hilarious. But that's just because Hertha fans don't really. There's not that many Hertha fans out there. They're not. It's not as. It's such a disappointing capital football club in terms of in all the capital football clubs there are. It is the biggest underachieving. It's got so much potential. They've got some money, so they're flooding it in. Say it again.
was gonna say. Sometimes I think it's Munich. That's the capital. That's how underwhelming that's a Berlin now. Yeah, but you're right about the money. But yeah, they're quite tumultuous because I know Jurgen Klinsmann had a stint there, didn't quite work out, and then I think they also signed Piontek in January as well. They're quite coveted.
They did,
yeah. So they've got got peas.
Yeah, when Klinsmann came in, I think it was during the January transfer window, and they were like, "Yeah, I want to get Xhaka, I want to get Piontek, I want to get." They had like a list of names they wanted to get in January. You thought, bloody hell, they're going hard for this. And then obviously that just capitulated very fast.
Yeah.
But there is potential at Hertha. Whether or not they can jump on that potential, I don't know. But how was the game anyway? I didn't see the game. So Robin, what was the game like?
It was very cagey at the start, and it was a very derby-like game, if that makes sense. Very cagey, lots of tackles going and stuff. But as soon as the first goal went in, Union just capitulated. Yeah, they just gave up. Really,
that was that. Union are just going to make sure they stay in the game, bro. That's it. They just need to make sure they stay in the league, and then they'll be fine. They'll be all right. Other matches here, obviously, we briefly spoke about Gladbach Leverkusen. That was actually a good game for the neutral, to be fair. I was just disappointed that Gladbach didn't win. I think Leverkusen are nice. They're nice. But disappointing in the sense that they should be they should be challenging for the second best team in the league. Comfortably when you look at their players.
No, but I think there's three very good teams vying for that same position. You've got
what does that mean?
Leverkusen and Leipzig.
But Leverkusen always seem to be like, I don't know, like, okay, they're in the top four now. Okay, fair enough. They're in the top four now. But they had a poor start to the season. Do you get what I'm saying? And when you look at their record compared to the rest of them, they lost like 6 games. I think Bayern and them lot have lost like 3 and 4 games. Like, Bayern, Dortmund, Leipzig. Leipzig lost like 3 games. I'm sure they're thinking, how on earth? They just love a draw. But Leverkusen, I always feel like should be challenging.
Ever since Leipzig came about, it has startled Leverkusen, if that makes sense. Because the up-and-coming people that will normally go to Leverkusen have now gone to Leipzig.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. But I still look to their side on Saturday, and it's you Bailey coming off the bench. Kai Havertz, we've spoken about, he's superb. Sven Bender, the defending from Leverkusen is one of his strengths. Like, they got some good defenders, and then they got even obviously Jonathan Tah's still there, and then you've got what's his name? I forgot what the number 10's called, but they've got him. I forgot what his name is. It's gone out of my mind. I think it's like Demirel or something like that. I can't remember now. But anyway, they got some good players. Say again.
What, Under Demirel? I don't know, but it's a Turkish guy, isn't it?
Oh no, not Under. Yeah. They got him. Paulinho's pretty good as well. Like, they've got some good players. The Diaby, like, they've got some players, man. If they're about it.
I was gonna say Diaby reminds me of Sadio Mane.
Yeah. No, I see why you say that. I think he's very, very good. But yeah, I hope if they do progress into the top 4, if they do make, I think they can. But they've got some big competition. Do you know what I'm saying? So we'll see how that happens, how they get along. But that was mainly it. Kevin Volland, of course, is there. Aurelio's there. They got bare man, bruv. Ezekiel Palacios. I'm just looking at their squad now. Araguez. They got some players, bro. Their man got players. But anyway, cool. Anything else from the German league, on the Bundesliga this weekend?
Other than that, no. Emery Can. Yeah.
What's Chan saying? What's he
been saying? I don't know why he thinks he's special.
Greece.
I don't know why he thinks he's special. Like, what has he done?
He's a World Cup winner.
Yeah, but
World Cup winner.
A lot of people are World Cup winners, and look at them.
but they're all special, bruv. They're all special.
Champions League finalists.
But yeah, nah. I get why he said it. I get why he
anyway.
Said it. He was saying that Sancho shouldn't leave and he should make magic at Dortmund. But he's not even a star at Dortmund, nor was he. It's just to say that he's going to make magic with him.
Is he not injured?
No, he was playing.
I thought he was injured. Interesting. I thought he was injured.
No, he's not a starter. Juventus got rid of him. He didn't do anything at Liverpool. So I don't know why he's talking all this crud.
No, I think.
What did you think of him at Liverpool?
What did I think of him at Liverpool? I think.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it, but he was almost a jack of all trades, master of none. So he was very much, he was very much in the mode of like a Milner, where it's like, I feel like in his younger career, he had so many different positions where it's like, sometimes we'll play left back, right back. And he had quite a long stint under Brendan where he was playing in sort of, the left-hand side of a back three. And I think, at times he was box to box, at times he was a six. So I think because he was moved about from pillar to post, I feel it ultimately stifled development and he never necessarily had an identity. And I think that's something that's plagued quite a couple of players, even look at the likes of sort of Wayne Rooney, perhaps if he maybe had that one designated role, have gone to that top echelon that he had the ability to do. But and I think another thing about him is he almost thinks like he's Superman at times. So I feel like he's the type of person where he's the type of person where he'll roll up his sleeve and like a 1-2 was on, but it was like he'll try, take the ball. He likes to show people that he works out and that he's got muscles. But no, he's a very good player though. Like he's got all the ability. Like really and truly, like Emre Can should be top. Like I don't like putting a number on it, but he should be a top European standard midfielder, definitely.
Who was better, him or Sahin?
You see, this is. I want to sound very FIFA here, but I feel like but Sahin was techie though.
That's very FIFA.
I feel like Sahin broke down. No, I was just gonna say I really liked Emre's physical attributes, and then he's a baller on top of that as well. Like honestly, I was gutted. I was gutted when he left us, but then when Fabinho came in, actually said, "Hang on a minute, Fabinho's an actual defensive midfielder. Emre is a very good midfielder." If that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I hear you. So, Robin, what's he saying though? What's he been saying? Like he's feeling special. He's feeling froggy. So what did he say?
He was saying that how he wanted to make magic at Dortmund with Sancho and he shouldn't leave here. I was like, right. You don't do anything. You haven't contributed to Dortmund.
That's harsh.
During your Juventus.
Why are you upset? Is it because he's disunited?
No.
Is it because he's saying don't go to United? Or
I knew why you're saying because he's a Liverpool person. So he's saying this because he wants to appease the Liverpool fans saying, "Oh, don't do this, stay with all that stuff." But at the same time, to call himself to make magic, he's not that guy.
I think Emre was thinking of it, bigger than just the link up between him and Sancho, and he was thinking about Borussia Dortmund as a team, as a squad, and where they're going, where they're projected to be. So we talk about Man United, who are sort of languishing in a are we your league side? Are we a Champions League side? What are we kind of doing? Whereas Bayern Munich Borussia Dortmund are quite clearly sort of challenging for the Bundesliga. And then let's be honest. Let's call a spade a spades. I think Erling Haaland, Jadon Sancho. I think in 7 years time, they will be two of the best players on the planet. Then we talk about the likes of your Guerreros, your likes of your Hakimis, adding Axel Witsel. And guess what? Emre Can is a very, very good midfielder in his own right as well. And then you hang on, you think to yourself, you say to yourself, you know what? This is a team that's capable of challenging Bayern Munich to actually win the league. So that's that. I think it was coming at it more from that angle, not necessarily, me and you. There's more of, me, you, plus the rest of Borussia Dortmund. We can be quite a good unit. Then also,
Adrian? That is very well said.
How was it?
Yeah, if I could add to that, if I could add to that by simply saying, Dortmund are in the Champions League, Manchester United weren't in the Champions, don't look like they're going to be in the Champions League next season. No, but they're a Champions League side. They were in the Champions League last season. They're in the Champions League now. I mean, they're going to be in the Champions League next season, is what I meant. And also, when you're a player, you want to play in those games like title deciders, like the game we're going to have tomorrow, Dortmund versus Bayern. Jadon Sancho is going to play in that game. Manchester United do not have a league fixture like that all season. You don't have a title deciding game. You don't have that. So, in our minds, we know how big the brand of Manchester United is, and we can see that, with given the right pieces, Bruno Fernandes, Pogba, Martial, Rashford, it could all work together, and Sancho could be something great at United, and they could win stuff. But you have to say the pieces are already like more aligned at Dortmund. They could win the league this year given the right circumstances. So what Emre Can was saying was, let's do it now. Let's do it here.
But if we look at the logic now, I feel like that team will only last a year.
Yeah,
unless if that.
No, and I think that's the sort of the asterisk, because I think Emre said that under the proviso that maybe 1 year, maybe even 2 years, Sancho's eventually going to go to Man United. At that point, he'll be 22, maybe 23 at the latest. So what Emre is saying is, give us another year, maybe even 2. Let's make some history now whilst we can, and then when the United project is a bit further along, you can go and progress your career over there, because you're still very, very young. But right now, we've got the ability to make history.
No, but I think if they don't win it now, and I think the amount of players that are at Dortmund, for example, I think Guerrero, I didn't even know about this guy until watching Dortmund properly. I was like, who is this person? Or Witzel and all these players that have been in the Dortmund system for a while now, I think will most likely look for a move this summer more than ever. That's why.
Robin, what would you do? What would you do if you were Sancho? Would you stay at Dortmund or would you go to United, given the current circumstances?
Depends what. Well, it's always when you look at any transfer. When I look at the team. If I'm looking at the team itself, and thinking what that team can do in the future. Looking at United team now, it's so young. However, given the time right in the development, it could be a monster team in a few years' time, and it can actually be like that for a while. Whereas Dortmund,
under Oli.
Not just under Oli, but under manager. If I'm looking at the team itself, that team could be dangerous. Very dangerous.
That's a fair point.
I look at Dortmund in general is a selling team. And not just for United, for football in Europe in general. They always lose their best players to either Bayern Munich or Real Madrid or that stuff. You don't stay at Dortmund for the long time unless you're Mario Götze.
Yeah, but I rate them. Them man just keep picking up players, bro. They're one of them.
And also, isn't the idea that would change? Like, because every club is a selling club until they become the club that starts winning things. So the idea behind Emre Can is that, look, if we we've attracted like what's his name, Haaland, who was sought after, where a lot of the top clubs would have said, United would have even said maybe we should have took a gamble on this kid. He went to Dortmund instead, and now they've just got a team full of young ballers. Whereas if they really, really push, they could do something great and not become a second club anymore. They could extend their legacy as a team.
They could, and I agree with you on that. But as of now, and I don't see Dortmund or that changing, because if you look at the Bundesliga in general, it all looks like it's a feeder club to Bayern, and like trying to make Bayern the big German team that can go take on Europe. Because
So
if you ask me, let me just finish this. If you ask me if Sancho, if I compare the two things, I would be more inclined to move, because as well, if I take age as a big factor, he's only 20 years old. So let's say if he doesn't work out at United or does work out at Chelsea, for example, he's still a big baller and he can still go to many, many teams around Europe and still have a big career ahead of him. So that's my point on that.
The thing I was going to say is I would have agreed with you, Robin, that Man United is the one to go to if they do not have Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as manager. I think the big problem at Manchester United, yes, the potential's there. Yes, it's a young team and it's got ballers in there. You hope in an ideal world, your Pogba's, your Bernard, what's his name, Fernandes, you hope that nucleus can be there and be strong. Rashford leading the line, Martial up there as well. And then maybe a few more additions as well, which United are more than capable of doing. The problem I have is that at Dortmund, I get it, it'll be the club, but it looks like it's going to challenge for the title much more than Manchester United ever will do for the next 2 or 3 years. Man United, if they come in with some big guns in as their manager, say if it is a Pochettino who knows how to play football, say if it is an Allegri who's a winner, or whatever managers that are left, then I'd say, do you know what, Manchester United now looks so much more desirable. But at Dortmund, the puzzles are like Emery Chan's got a point in that the puzzles are nicely aligned. The only thing that's missing for Dortmund is just a trophy to their name. I don't think they even need to add anything to that team. Everything looks nice and set. It's just that, yes, they're playing against the monster that is Bayern Munich.
And I agree. I think it's a fair point that it's more attractive than it is at Dortmund than it is at United. But if it's only one hurdle, would you think it's more of a thing to win the Premier League is when there's more hurdles in the Premier League to come over and say that you are the best team? Whereas if you beat Bayern, then that's it, really. If that makes sense. So, like, for example, United, you have to go against City, you have to go against Chelsea, you have to go against Arsenal, you have to go against all those teams.
The question is, though, do you care about what medals you have or who you had to beat to get them? Like, I'd care more about the medals. Even, I'd rather have 3 Bundesliga titles than have 1 Premier League title because of how hard it is to win that league. If I ever win a league in England. Because, like you said, now that there's more caveats in England, it's long. Do you know what I'm saying? If I care about winning, I'm not joining Manchester United. Do you get what I'm saying? If I'm going to talk about winning, then I'm going to join City. I'm going to go Bayern Munich. I want to go Barcelona, Madrid, Chelsea. Even. Do you get what I'm saying? I'll go down that route. Liverpool. I'll go down that road.
England isn't a big attraction then if you just want medals, because then you're going to have to work.
Well,
I'm saying.
But if he goes for the big 2. If he goes for the big 2 like City and Liverpool, he's fine. Then he'll be all right. But maybe Chelsea, depending on how they get their stuff together. But
I'm saying England in general. I'm saying if you want medals and all you care about medals, you're going to find it easier playing in any other country than England. Because England, you have to work hard. Facts.
100%.
Yeah.
The beef is...
I think the proviso here is that.
I was just saying, the bottom, the trash teams don't lay down for you guys.
Well, in England,
no, they don't.
I know, man. I know.
Unless you got
I was watching.
Unless you got that one.
I was watching
trash.
I was watching Arsenal get their butts handed to by West Brom away. I thought West Brom are struggling to get back in the Prem right now, and they were giving us work 2 years ago. So anyway, but yeah. Go on, Angel, sorry.
I was going to say, Borussia Dortmund are perennially, they will, I think, unfortunately, their fate is sort of sealed, for the next sort of decade at least anyway, as being the selling club. Before Haaland's ink even dried in this Dortmund contract, Real Madrid are talking about getting him in 2021 or 2022, whenever it's going to be. But I just think for Jadon Sancho, at this point, and the way the tide is, stay an extra year, potentially win the Bundesliga, because he's always going to go to Manchester United eventually, because Manchester United is the juggernaut. Manchester United is one of the biggest clubs on the planet. However, is Manchester United necessarily ready to compete for the honours that they should be at this present moment in time? Possibly not. Would they be with a good manager and with 1 or 2 other signings? Maybe. Dortmund may be a little bit more ready of competing for the league over in the Bundesliga. I'd say so, yeah. So why not?
Yeah,
bro,
why not?
People are going to have money to spend, People are not going to have money to spend, man. This transfer window is
that's the other big thing. We do still have the money.
See, I don't trust Manchester United. And that's the thing. I bet you money, David. I bet you Man United are going to spend bucks.
No, of course.
As in, I'm saying
the people that run Manchester United are morons. Of course, you don't.
I'm saying that I think that everyone's saying there's no money. Man United are going to spend 100 million this window, no doubt, about it. They will spend 100. Well, whether it's on 1 or 2 players, what I'm saying is 100 million will be spent. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's okay because of selling players or net spend, whatever you want to call it, them man are spending 100 million this summer.
100 million now is weighty,
It is a huge club. United, if they could, if there was no recession ever in football, we would be at the time where Man United would have spent 500 million in a window, no doubt. That is how much money. I remember, when there was a year when they didn't make the Champions League. The year when Van Gaal came in, right? Okay. And you lot were signing Falcao, Di Maria, blah blah blah. The previous year they finished 8th, blood, or 7th. that's when I couldn't believe life. I was like, at that point, I thought, nah, I can't believe what I'm seeing. That 2014 summer, I sat there in disbelief. Disbelief.
They're the second biggest club in the world.
I was angry. Blood, do you remember, David? Because we're there trying to find a striker, and they gave us Danny Welbeck. Meanwhile, they've signed friggin' Falcao, and they had Di Maria for good measure. Huh?
That team should have won the league, but again, managers.
I think you got them all at the wrong time. I think if you got like pre-ACL Falcao.
Hey.
Yeah, because I saw a photo. I think I saw like it was like Falcao, Di Maria, Rooney, and Van Persie. I was like, what? You all had them at the same time? It just didn't work
Ridiculous. Ridiculous. And then next year get Bastian Schweinsteiger and Martial just to add to it. If you however you feel.
Just because
you know what I'm saying. And then after that, Pogba. I was getting angry. I was getting friggin' jealous and angry about this side.
Splashing peas, bruv. Left, right, centre.
Look, they've been splashing peas
and mismanagement. That is what United is.
Big football club.
So you watch this summer, brother. In a time where the market is down, blood, them man will still find 100 million to spend.
You get more bang for your buck.
All right.
Wait, speaking of the Premier League, it's somewhat.
That's right.
We've got small groups now, and the haircuts have been insane.
Woo! The trimmer fees. Do you know what's funny? Yeah, only COVID-19 could do this. Yeah, where no matter how much money you make, your hair can still be repug. No matter how like I was seeing Donny's looking like me, bruv, and I was thinking, yo, you're like 100 grand up per week.
Kante.
And it does not make you exempt.
Someone said Kante looks like a microphone. How was it did?
Kante lost his smile.
Bruv.
What was weird about Kante is Kante didn't even have like a weird haircut or anything. It's just the fact that he had hair was so shocking. Like his hair was normal.
It was.
A man can't cut his hair.
Well, can't he
the fact that he grew hair was nothing.
He does well. Like he ain't got a fade.
I'm sure wifey could just let that go. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, let the hands go.
That Sadio Mane, my gosh!
Wow!
Woo! Sadio Mane. Now the trim makes sense because I've always questioned the trim. I've always sat there think, what's he playing at? You know what I'm saying? Like then there's a bit of gold in there, and then there's he does things. I sat there thinking, I just thought maybe that's what money does. Do you know what I mean? But now, when you see now the hair fully grown, you're thinking, yo, Don, what is this? What is this?
And then we look at your brother, Aubameyang.
Oh, David, let me hear you on this one.
What is going on there?
I have no explanation, bro.
Woo!
Man.
Ooh.
Ooh.
You see Pierre. And the thing is, here's what it is. Here's what it comes down to at the end of the day. If my man is bagging 25, I don't give a damn what his hair looks like. You know what? Hey. Not a monkey is given. Because all the players who are cussing, funny enough, are all good. They're prolific. They're doing their thing. They're all ballers. Like Mane, baller. Kante, baller. Aubameyang, baller. Do you know what I'm saying? Like when you start seeing Donnies that are like not respected, and you're thinking, yo, that is a mazine. Then it's like, hey. But I was shocked when I saw Aubameyang. I was like, raw. I was a bit scared. And you know the ones. I was a bit like, raw. Okay.
Wait, does he cut his hair?
Started looking scary. Who?
Does he cut his hair?
You can no.
I just think it's just like. His hair is. It reminds me of the days of Drogba. Remember when Drogba used to just have like wet, slick hair, and he would just do all kinds of mazine to it.
Bro,
like he would have his hair tied back, and it would be wet. And I'm thinking, what's he doing?
It's the French Africans. It's the French Africans. That's what it is.
Them men are wild. Them men are wild. And if it's trying to be American, bro, them men are wild.
Forever perming their
hair. Are all wild. But yeah, Bobby Firmino's one is. Yeah. Like his first year,
a cartel boss.
Henry told him to cut that mess out. But yeah, Bobby Firmino, bro, my man is coming in with the he's got the gangrene. Do you know what I'm saying? He's got every class you want. the guy's looking like he's ready to shop like for the whole of Merseyside. when the title gets lifted, my man's got the cats and the fiends everywhere.
Doing it for the favela, man.
It's mad. The haircuts are mad. Honestly, I've never felt so human. Seeing football is so human in my life than this. But yeah, the trims are wild. Who's got the worst trim so far, or the worst hair? Let's say.
No, that's
it's not even a trim.
That's Aubameyang.
Mane.
Is it Oba? Yeah.
I think it's
Mane?
Mane makes sense. That I look at it, I'm like, it's wild, but it makes sense. Aubameyang legit scared me.
That's lawless. Because I never knew Aubameyang had it like that, you know. I thought about like Aubameyang's hairline. I never really noticed that. I never thought anything of it. So when I saw that photo and it was like up here, like the middle of his head, I was thinking, raw.
It's mad.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
like,
it's
you forget that he's 30, 31. That picture showed, yes, he is 31.
100%. He looks 31 now, boy.
Looks 51.
But yeah, man, that's now there's been some awful hair. And as soon as the barbers can open, I'm telling you, man, we're gonna see trims galore.
The barbers are going to make millions. They're going to be the richest people in the country.
So man, are still going.
Which? Oh, Rod, is barbers open?
Yeah, no, people get private barbers. Yeah.
Hey, what going on, blood? Hey, give me the plug in it.
Serge Aurier was wearing a Columbia top, and he posted it on Instagram like his barber came to hook him up. Quarantine.
You see Tottenham Hotspur, blood, yeah? Any man from Tottenham Hotspur, bro, honestly, like Serge Aurier is the biggest clown. Him and who's the other one? Jordan Ibe as well.
Oh yeah, Ibe. He was looking like Cisco with the gold team.
Yo. Hey, these man's internet has
gone. These man died. Both balls.
It's
mad.
Twice now.
NW, bruv. Why? Alright, looks like I'm the host now. Man, them training, bruv.
Boy, yeah, it's a bit weird. You come in at random times now. So half the team comes in the morning, half the team comes in the afternoon, and you just do your own thing. But I guess that some way to build a team up, and now we're looking at what the government's announced that it's coming back next week. Like, you can have full-on teams now.
Yeah, apparently they've approved full contact training. Yeah. But the Premier League have to vote on it on Wednesday.
Oh, this is I mean,
but I think the return date is going to get pushed back, though.
It is because of the amount of the new cases that's going to come fairly quickly.
Listen, we ain't been bad. League ain't been bad, you know.
No, we've not been as bad as Germany. Germany was bad.
At least like 8 out of how many was it? 1,000? Is it 8? Something like that tested positive.
Yeah.
Which ain't bad. So
8 out of 1,000, but that's like pre-training. So now that's come for a week, and then there's another round of training. We're going to see. That's going to be the big one. I
remember everyone else is tested negative, innit?
Yeah.
So if it's positive, you've been out somewhere, bruv.
Yeah.
You've been somewhere straight out, bruv. So, but yeah,
there's a player that's been around this week already.
Who?
Mariappa.
Yeah, I think I heard it. I was like, someone's been out.
Oh, what, out? Out what?
Yeah, like on the sesh.
Nah, he got tested. He's the first one to announce positive. Apparently, his name was someone leaked it in it, so he just come out straight and said, "Yeah, I'm one of the people who tested positive and that." And then 2 other players had to isolate because they were in close contact with him. So,
do you think more people now are going to do what Troy Deeney and Kante's doing, saying that they're not going to come back until it's safe?
If I'm being perfectly honest, I think there's certainly more than 2 players that don't want to come back. I just think they're fearful of the backlash that they're going to receive. I think Troy Deeney strikes me as quite a stand-up, no-nonsense kind of guy. He doesn't necessarily care what people think. He said it himself, he's been broke before. He'll happily go broke again. And then I think, N'Golo Kante, he's also got his mitigating circumstances, and I think he's sort of the nation's darling in that respect. But I definitely do think that there are many more players who are genuinely petrified of having to come back and don't want to come back, but they fear the reprisal, they fear being, lambasted, they fear being vilified for it. In case in point, Danny Rose, he's always vocal. He sort of came out and said what he thinks. So I definitely do think that there are loads of players that don't want to come back. They just haven't said anything yet.
Yeah. So I don't know, guys. Were you guys listening or while you're down?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, like, does it change anything given the fact that today Boris Johnson has just said that, like, by the 15th of June we're going to have like retail shops open again, and like basically we're moving towards like the rest of society having to face those same conditions, in the sense of like you're actually going to have to go out and be in places with people. So by that time is when the Premier League will be looking likely to come back. Is it that unfair anymore, or is it still harsh to expect players to play?
What my answer is? Because the thing is, they're getting tested, so that would be my thing. Like, you're getting tested, you know who's, and like, as you see, 8 man got tested positive. They stay at home. Some are chilling. It's not a big in it, but obviously, to each his own in it. If you feel, I don't feel safe, then it's up to you. The tests are there. Then make sure everything's calm for training. So that's up to you. And I'm not gonna say, hey, blood, go play, fam. Nah, man. That's up to you. That's everyone each his own. So.
You back, Pete?
Yeah, no, I'm here. Walk on. What's the question? Will this affect players?
No, so we're mainly talking about how teams have come back into training and how it's gone from small groups and now that contact's coming back. And then we're just looking at how, compared to the Bundesliga, where they had 10 people tested positive, so far in the Premier League's been 2. Will that improve or will that get worse when it comes to close contacts next week, depending if it gets put in by the Premier League board? Hello.
It's them ones, isn't it? Yeah, it's them ones. Like, I think it depends what the players do outside of football. You know them ones. I feel like they're gonna literally. Yo, can you not hear me?
No, we can hear you.
I'm here, blood. Well, go on.
We can hear you.
Yo,
for you to chat.
Can you man hear me?
Yeah.
I don't think he can hear us.
Yeah, Nate.
Yes.
Yeah, I said ages ago. Bloody hell. Anyway, all right, cool. All right, cool.
I'm just gonna remove him just because I don't know what's going on there. Like, he can't. I don't think he can hear us, but we could hear him.
If they decide to go and do stuff, then it's them ones. No, this is terrible. I'm coming out.
Okay. Yeah, but the thing is, we're getting to a point as a society, where no one is going to be completely like safe from COVID. We're all going to have to go back into environments where it's like, I might catch it, I might not catch it, and I think those people who have specific conditions, i.e., their family members or their own health condition, they're gonna want to withdraw themselves, and I don't think anyone could really have anything bad to say about that.
Yeah, like he said, Dini said his son can't breathe properly at the moment. So
exactly.
I can understand that. I want to say, oh no, you get paid a lot of money to think.
You'd be surprised.
Nah, man.
Yeah. No, but the thing is, we're reasonable, so there's no point making an argument for the unreasonable people. We understand, so it's one of them. Peter, what are you saying?
Right.
What you mean?
Now you can hear me nice and flowy, yeah? We're all good.
Yeah.
Because
beforehand,
relax, bro. Beforehand, I could speak, and then it will come to you, man, like a minute later. So, like, that's why I was like, I could see the picture movement, and it's not correlating. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, the point I was making anyway was just that I think the cases probably might go up because we can't control what footballers do outside of training outside of match day. If you're going to start, you know what I'm saying, if we're getting back to physical training now, it's going to be inevitable, isn't it? At the end of the day, like the virus is still about. It's not like it's gone or disappeared. So, yeah, I think the likelihood is that we'll get more cases. Has Germany got any more? Do we know they haven't got any more?
Not that no.
That's interesting. Okay, that's interesting. So we'll see. I guess we'll see. Well, you know, what is it? Physical training this week, and then
they vote for it on Wednesday.
For what? For physical training?
Yeah. The government have approved it, but the Premier League have to vote for it.
What's interesting is that you're going to see a couple players just do a Kante and Troy Deeney thing, and just say, "But on this, like, I'm not risking it with my family or whatever else." Should they deserve to be paid? It's a question. I don't know. I don't know whether or not we can make that judgment. But at the end of the day, like if a bus driver said, "Look, I'm not working because of my fears of COVID-19," does his wage get cut or her wage get cut? And if so, then the players should do the same. Now, Troy Deeney was saying, you know, I've been broke before. I don't mind getting broke again. But will he live up to that? Do you know what I'm saying? Will he actually donate his wages? That's another matter.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, man. When is the date meant to be resuming anyway? When's the league meant to restart? Do we know?
They said June 19th, but because some teams don't think they'll be quote unquote ready by then, they're trying. Some people will say June 26th. So it's only those 2 dates.
A quick question. Do you know the fixture list, like how they plan to play all of these games?
So they said it will start off with Tottenham versus United on the Friday/Saturday is the first game, and then just do what the rest of the pitches were.
Is that okay? So are they going to restart from when the first set of games got postponed?
Yes.
Then it should be Arsenal Man City then.
No, but they're doing like week. Was it week 29 or week 30? That week gets restarted, and all the postponed games will be like midweek games. If that makes sense.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Push it back.
So they skip out one and start with that weekend.
Because
that was a game in hand.
The following year.
The Tottenham United game was not a game in hand. That was
Arsenal.
Yeah, the Arsenal one is a
Arsenal
game in
City.
hand.
And I think the FA Cup games, I don't know what happens to the teams that were meant to be playing.
FA Cup,
I think FA Cup's gone.
FA Cup.
Nah, blood, they need to keep that, cuz.
Bro, I can't lie. It needs to cut.
It needs to remain. It needs to remain. But you know what's so funny, yeah? What would be mad is that imagine an FA Cup final with no fans. Like at Wembley, no fans.
Yeah, imagine you win the FA Cup with no fans.
I think
that's the biggest mazine.
I think you need to take this one at a time. League first. Yeah. You see how the German league or the Italian league or they're not starting their things again. They're just doing their league first. Calm.
The league is not for
the league is the primary thing. Your league is your bread and butter. Start with that first.
They need that mula.
The truth is that, you know, when you look at the divisions below, your League Ones, your League Twos, and whatever else, how can we be restarting if other leagues are saying, look, it's time to can the thing? And like you look at the money that some clubs, like there's going to be quite a few clubs that go into admin, and it will only be till the end of this season that we realize, oh snap, Bear Man are gone. Yeah, and it's almost like what do we do now?
Gary Neville.
That's what Chief said.
Gary Neville was saying that the Premier League should be supporting the lower league clubs. I think Championship should be all right, I think. But League One, League Two, they need peas, bruv.
It's difficult when they're not run by the same people.
What do you mean?
Premier League is a separate entity from the EFL. So I'm just like...
But what I'm saying, obviously, that's part of the same thing, bruv. You're all part of the same... You're in the same industry. Bruv, so we got peas, bruv. You're not going to tell me you can't send a couple of peas down to League Two.
I agree with you. But I feel like because Premier League is Premier League, like imagine it as a company. Premier League is Premier League place, and the EFL is EFL place, but they're both managed by the FA. So you're telling one industry to donate to another industry. Yeah. And I get that, but obviously there'll be people in there that's like, hold on, we run our own thing, this is our own money, why are we doing that? That's what I'm saying. That's the issue to get.
This is what's so hilarious. Of all bodies that you've named out there, yeah, the FA, I've not heard a peep. I've not heard nothing from the FA, and yet they manage the football in this country, all football in this country, right? And it's so funny because we're just talking FA Cup just then, and of course that has to be scrapped. But we've not heard a sound. We're hearing more noise from owners of clubs, from leagues, from different leagues, than we are hearing from the governing body that is the FA, the Football Association. Say that again?
Frank did say something the other time. What's his name? Is it Greg Clark? Is he still the chairman?
What did he say?
I don't know. He was talking some nonsense, bro. Like, he was like one. I can't remember what it was, but he did come out with a statement or something.
It's interesting then.
All their FA is doing is cancelling leagues, bro. They've cancelled League.
Cancelled the Women's League just today.
Women's League is cancelled. It's just mad.
Oh, right. Who's champion?
I haven't decided yet.
Hey, well, Arsenal retain, yeah? You're done, though. That's what I'm talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
It
hasn't been decided yet. It's just been cancelled. So,
right. So women's football's been cancelled. Mad.
Yeah.
No, but to touch on David's point, like in terms of the P's, like a lot of clubs are gonna feel the brunt of it. Like a lot of clubs are gonna really, really, really struggle because like you've got no, and this isn't just from now to the end of the season. This is from now to the foreseeable. So potentially this time in 2021, there's no gate receipts. There's no TV. Like what's gonna happen? And I think it's idealistic to say like clubs from the Premier League should chip in and help the lower league clubs. Let's call a spade a spade. Bury went out of business this season. You see what I'm saying? So as idealistic as that sounds, is it gonna happen? So, bro, a lot of teams, I don't want to say pack up, but potentially one or two, who knows?
Yeah, bro, that's mad.
No, I think they will pack up, bro. I think you're absolutely right. I think they will pack up. Do you get what I'm saying? So, and that's where, football's going to be such a sad spot. It should be something that's amazing, but it's going to be something so terrible because of the falling of so many great teams. We've had Bury, and it seems like nobody really batted an eyelid unless you're from up north. But when you turn around and you say to me, you know what, it's going to be like, I don't know, I'm picking a club at random, Port Vale and frigging Tranmere, clubs that have been about, yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's bad. If leagues have cancelled elsewhere, how can we still be going? It's what I find odd.
Because the Bundesliga gave hope.
Yeah, but for example, but in England, does it make sense where, say, for example, if League One, League Two said there's no promotion, no relegation, then how can Championship then continue to fight for promotion and relegation? And then how can the Premier League then fight for promotion and relegation in Europe, etc., when two leagues lower than us, they're not letting anyone move. No one's shifting.
Again, money, bro. Because A, money, B, they look at what other countries have done, and it is a double-edged sword that the fact that Germany were able to restart their top two, which is equivalent to the Premier League and the Championship, and the other twos just don't move.
So what? So how many teams are we going to have in these leagues? Is the Championship going to have like 18 teams next season or 20 teams next season? Possibly. And is the Premier League going to have like 22, 23?
No, but if the Championship and the Premier League resume, they will still have 24, but I don't know if the Championship will relegate people, if that makes sense. If they do relegate people, then the Championship will have less people, but the Premier League will still remain the same.
And the problem they have, they've got to do playoffs as well. So I don't know how they're going to do that.
Yeah.
I'll just say first, second, and third, man.
Wait. To change that rule now, bro, the season started, bro.
I'm just saying, because like, to complete the season, then to add the playoffs on top of that. That's what extra. It's extra 3 games. No, it's extra 3 games.
It's still. Unless it's long.
Unless they make it a one-legged thing, bro. Winner goes through, bro. No 2 legs, bro. Yeah, straight knockouts, bro. 1 game.
But where? But where do you play the game? Is it a neutral ground?
No, which by the way, whoever's third gets the home game. And it's vice versa, bro. Third, fourth, and whatever. That's where you finish.
I guess you can.
The whole game, bro.
But do you think that's maybe why the
That's
FA
the solution.
What?
But do you think that's maybe why the FA have been so quiet? Because there's so many of these permeables and these variables that they have to systematically, wean out and sort of plan in order for it to run as seamlessly as possible. Because, bro, it's a lot. That's the FA Cup happens. What happens to the playoffs? Who gets relegated? It's a lot.
We're going to run into, yeah. Let's say the Premier League finishes their season, yeah. Liverpool crown champions, whoever finishes top 4, I can't. Whoever gets relegated is relegated then. Championship, who comes up? If they're not going to relegate anyone, or League One and League 2 are not promoting anyone, are they?
No.
I think so.
They have to decide though, right?
I think League 2's shut. League 2 shut. It's League 1 is the problem.
So that's the thing. Who gets promoted then?
So League 2 shut their case, which meant that non-league couldn't go up.
Yeah.
So that screwed them over, which is big. That's a big thing.
That's not fair, bro. Man finished top, bro. Do you know how hard it is to get on?
Yeah, boy.
I'm officially in the cold. What is it? What's the sponsor?
Panorama.
Panorama League 2.
Panorama National.
No, Panorama.
No. You mean no? I think it's just EFL. Like, so you got the EFL League 1 and 2.
Sky Bet. Yeah, Sky Bet. That's what.
Are they Sky Bet?
Yeah.
Is it?
Sky Bet League 1.
Bunda Vanarama, bad man made this to Sky Bet, yeah, and you're telling me I can't go up? Nah, bro. I gotta do this.
Yeah, bro. You'd be fuming, bro. You'd be fuming.
I gotta do, bro. Non-league is not easy enough. That is stress.
That's stress.
It's
Bro,
stress.
the price of a pie is the price of a ticket. Come on, man. A flipping chicken boaty pie. And a bottle,
bro.
Half my wages.
I play football, man. I try to start from north, whatever. God, that thing is hard.
Yeah.
The budget is non-existent, bro.
Billy Ricky Town and that.
Bro, I hear ya.
It is non-existent.
Trust me.
Scout, bro.
Honestly, it's yeah. You just got to hope for the best.
Yeah.
You just got to hope for you got to just have to try and error. But yeah, look. It'll be amazing. I'll be amazed how they set this up. I swear the neutral ground thing in the Premier League has now gone out the window.
It's out the window. It's out the window.
What changed? What minute it was like, yeah, teams are voting in.
Do you know
what? They're not.
Yeah, I think it's because like the numbers of cases are going down. So I think they said, like, cool, police can be able to attend and whatever. There's obviously, but the simple thing was, yeah, you know how everyone was worried about, if Liverpool in the league, they're going to gather outside Anfield. Fam, block out, do what they did in Dortmund, bro. Just block out the street, bro.
You can do, yeah.
And
also, it's
them man that live outside Anfield, you got to leave. That's that's the benefit of living outside Anfield, isn't it? The rest of them,
that's the only benefit. That place is home.
You're a bad guy, Adrian.
Bruv, have you seen Anfield Road, Oscar? Have you been to Anfield Road? Holy smokes!
Outside Anfield, they had wisdom in it. They knew this time was coming sooner or later. They're there. The rest of y'all need to stay at home, bro, or in the pub. The pubs will be open, celebrate there, innit?
Did you hear that? If permitted, that the Premier League will give Liverpool a proper ceremony.
Huh? Listen, what's the proper ceremony?
So you know how all the players get the medals and lift the trophy up and there's like fireworks and all that stuff?
Yeah, let them have that.
Yeah, let them have that. Empty stadium is
like the Premier League would do it for Liverpool.
I mean, if we restart the league and Liverpool win their games, then they are rightfully champions. So they deserve everything that champions get. It's a shame. It's a shame that they're not going to have fans. But it is what it is.
It is what it is, unfortunately.
And at the end of the day as well, like what? You know, say it's play behind closed doors and a bad man rock up. If them man catch the COVID, that's on them, bro. It's not like there's only so much the Premier League can do. And they're not responsible for how fans behave, how the people behave.
No, but Liverpool fans are dumb.
Huh?
That's why I said you lock off the street to Anfield Stadium.
Yeah, Liverpool, those fans, they would do anything.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, lock it off. And the truth is, wherever the barrier is, they're going to come as close to that barrier as possible. Yeah. And if there's 1,000 man and they catch that COVID blood on them, you get me? Like, I'm not even on a deep thing, but like, just like the way the government has said, look, stay away, stay alert and all this kind of jargon. Fam, it is what it is. Like, if I'm catching COVID now, it's my fault. You know them ones. It's not like they ain't put that in place. Like, them man.
All I'm saying is it's going to be mad. Like, you see what it's like right now at beaches, yeah, because there's a little bit of hot weather and man them are going down to Brighton for the weekend and whatnot. Just imagine in a couple of weeks' time, maybe the end of June it would be, Liverpool win the league, the sun is blaring, we're 4 weeks into this, so people are already going back to school, people have already gone back to retail shops and blah, 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 blah. We're getting accustomed back into society. When Liverpool win that league, the whole of Liverpool, the streets of Liverpool will be a street party for a whole day. We can't, it's inevitable, guys. If the Premier League comes back, we can't stop it.
Facts.
What I'm saying, if you don't want them near the stadium, knock off the street, let them celebrate that.
Barry that off. Yeah.
Let them celebrate that way, bro. Because now you're just
take the Corona to Goodison.
There's no point.
I just said shift it.
At least let me see the team defend the trophy next season. I want that, man. Nah, I get mad. How many years is it? 20 years?
30.
Please, Liverpool fans out there, use wisdom, bro.
That's them ones, yeah.
Congratulations.
That's it. That's the problem, isn't it? You're asking the public to use wisdom. That's always been the downfall of this nation.
You know what's a fuss? Like, touching on a Liverpool topic. How that game against Atletico Madrid was allowed to go ahead.
honestly. Bro, I swear I stressed this the first week.
In the pod.
I stressed this in the first week because I said there was about 2,000 plus Spanish lads down there, yeah? And then another 45,000 of Liverpool, 50,000 plus. How on earth?
Hey, what happens pre-corona stays pre-corona, all right? Don't worry about that.
Hundreds of cases were linked back to that day.
But it was the only game that was actually scheduled with fans, because I swear PSG Dortmund was no fans. Everywhere else had no fans. Liverpool just said, "Now, bun that."
Remember that this country is not serious.
Yeah, that's back when we weren't taking it seriously. That's back when it wasn't a big deal.
That's the last football game I ever watched.
He's been burning since then.
Oh, what a game!
My heart was cool. My heart's cooled down actually.
That was a game and a half.
Yeah, that game. Oh, I couldn't do it, man.
Something else, fam. Oscar, you said you had something on Ashley Cole for us. What's Ashley Cole been rabbiting about?
Yeah. So on Sky Sports, he had an interview, and obviously he was talking about why he chose to leave Arsenal and join Chelsea, because it was a big contention point in his career. And he basically said that it was to do with a multitude of issues, being how that both he was at fault and so was the club, basically. So today he's gone on Twitter and had a massive rant with random people. Imagine me and you are on Twitter talking about Ashley Cole. Ashley Cole jumped in the convo to just start debating. And he basically... I mean, yeah. So somebody insinuated...
for 2 minutes, yeah.
Somebody insinuated that he left. Now, the thing is, it would be major if it was 1 or 2. The guy did 5 tweets, bro. He was back and forth with random strangers. Wild. But, so somebody insinuated that he left for the money, much like Alex Song, because apparently there was an article that came out where Alex Song said, I left to Barcelona because the money they offered me was too crazy. I knew I would sit on the bench, but I had to go.
The guy confirmed.
He responded to somebody saying that by saying, what are you talking about? When did I ever say that? Yes, the discussion was we fell out over money, but I left because people dangled something in front of me, then took it away, then tried to make it all my fault. And then people then started to quote his book back to him. And in his book, he said that when he heard a phone call from his agent saying that Arsenal offered a figure of 55,000 per week, he nearly swerved off the road. And then Ashley Cole responded to that by saying, read the rest of the page, basically. Don't just Google the quote that you want to hear. The rest came after it. He also then went on to say, if I stated every reason, then some of you would feel very hurt. So I chose to ride out the storm. I've never seen the people responsible for the fall talk about the situation in truth.
Ooh.
So yeah, and then he said, there are lots of reasons, but you and some Arsenal fans can't handle the truth or don't want to hear it. This is all verified. All verified on Ashley Cole's Twitter page. So you can check it out if you want to see it there.
This guy came with the big ting, blood. Came with the big ting, cuz. What?
Rightly so. Because I think there's a misconceived notion that if I go to a place where I can earn more money, I'm less ambitious, sort of career-wise. Bro, he went to Chelsea. He became a serial winner. I think he's the most decorated player ever in FA Cup history. He's won the most FA Cups. You know, he won the league.
Best left back in the world.
Yeah, best left back in the world. 5th pro, all of that. Won the Champions League as well. Come on, man. And I feel like Arsenal fans are quite a bitter bunch, if we're being perfectly honest. And a player can never leave Arsenal for the betterment of their own career. There must be some elaborate, money-hungry plot behind it. And it's not necessarily always that.
Adrian, I'll counter that. I would have agreed with you wholeheartedly if you said to me it was, you know, like Hleb, Song, Fabregas, Nasri's, the ones that left, Adebayos, the ones that left in the Emirates era where there was no money at Arsenal, right? But Ashley Cole left at a time where, now I'm not saying it's his fault that he left, like he said, it sounds to me that there is some huge dirt behind closed doors that we don't know about yet, right? But he left at a time when he left, I think, the year after the Invincible season. So there was an Invincible season, then Chelsea won the league, and then he went to Chelsea the following year after that, right? And I felt like, you know, it's not like Arsenal weren't challenging for titles at that time. It's not like we weren't winning stuff. I think he won the FA Cup with us, and then he went to the Champions League final with us, kind of thing. So, like, it's not like he wasn't. He didn't go. Did he go Champions League final? I don't think he. Maybe he did. I think he did.
Yeah, he would.
But
yeah, he would.
He did, but he was injured. He was injured. But when you look at it like that, you think, okay, do you know what? He's clearly left because obviously the money thing. And the truth of the matter is, the money thing hurts us. Obviously, it hurts us because really and truly, anybody would leave their job for more money. That's almost why you would leave a job, to go and get more money. But and it just hurt that it was like he was talking about I went to go win stuff, and it's like, bro, you were winning stuff with us. Like when everybody else said it, they were saying it and then not even winning wherever they went, but their paycheck was doubled. Do you get what I'm saying? Now it's like, so for me, the Ashley Cole one was the start of a miserable strategy, I think, at Arsenal, where they started selling their best players. He was the catalyst, and everybody was so burnt and hurt because who would have thought a player of his caliber going to such a rival at the time, and it just felt like the only thing could have been the money. And obviously, when his book come out, you know, he nearly crashed his car, and you know, who knows what Chelsea offered him when he signed there? Maybe it was like 10,000 more or whatever it was. So it burnt us. Of course, we couldn't face the facts, but I think in that time, he was in a team that could win things. It wasn't like it was a team that couldn't win stuff.
I think the way history played out, he made an inspired decision, didn't he? And he left the sinking ship.
Yeah, and it was a sinking ship by our own fault. It wasn't like it was just sinking because that's just what happens. We decided to just let players go. Like the Invincible team broke up by the time we got to the Emirates. There was like 2 players left, which is farcical beyond description. It was unbelievable. So yeah, go on,
guys. There's one more quote I forgot to read out from Ashley Cole, which is actually quite important to in terms of his reasoning. So somebody tweeted out, one thing I'd love to know about Ashley Cole is, why didn't you think I'm going to be the next Tony Adams rather than complaining that these leader types of players were leaving? We needed players to replace them, not players to run away, which is a fair thing that a lot of Arsenal fans would probably say. Ashley Cole responded by saying, good question. And the answer is, I wanted to win. I was around winners, and sorry, but that's what they installed in me. I knew a lot of players were leaving, so I made the decision for my career and to improve. And I didn't think I would have if I'd stayed.
Yeah, at the end of the day, he made a decision for his career, and nobody can ever take that away from him. But if stick comes his way, he can't just expect to nobody like be upset that he left us, because he left us, and do you know what I mean? Like we were single.
I think his issue was that at that time nobody ever saw it as anything but money. Especially looking at what Chelsea were at that time. Chelsea had just bought 2 league titles and spent loads of money on a load of players. So then to buy Ashley Cole as well. Like you were saying, he's just left the team that's won the league unbeaten, won the FA Cup in the Champions League final. It all looked like he was just doing it for money and not for footballing reasons. And I think he's just basically explaining that, look, there were footballing reasons and there were business reasons that Arsenal played a part in. Yet I was called Ashley Cole for the rest of my career.
You get called that term because if somebody offers you a contract and you reject it because you wanted more money, it's hard to look at anything else. God knows what his wages were when we went unbeaten, and God knows what the contract he was offered. He said 55,000, right? I can't imagine he was on. I can't imagine what he was on in 04, for example, and whether there was a big difference or whether there was a big difference. Because he burst onto the scene at Arsenal. Don't forget, it's like Saka right now, right? How much would you claim Saka was probably on right now? If you just make a random figure,
45.
I'd go. Oh, that's too high. I think he's like on 10 or something like that, right? And I think he's being offered somewhere like 30 to 40 now. And then Chelsea come up with 55 or 60. You would say, look, Saka left for the money. Because at the end of the day, it's like we offered you maybe double your wages, but it wasn't enough. And then it's like you've gone elsewhere to now extend on that. Look, the stick will come in.
He mentions the fact that Vieira left, Henry left, the players that he considered leaders in the dressing room were on the way out. And I think you have to take it with.
And there's reasons why they didn't get stick. It's not to say you're not allowed to leave Arsenal. Players have left, but not everybody got stick when they left. So even Vieira didn't get stick when he left. And the simple fact was Arsenal made the decision to not play him for next season. So he said, I'm going to cut, which is scandalous. You know what I'm saying? When you think about it, like it's unbelievable. And then, you've got Thierry Henry stayed for an extra year because he wanted to go to Barcelona, stayed an extra year. It was all right, the extra year. And then he was gone. We're like, we'll deal without you. It's the manner. It's the way you hold it up. It's just the way you hold it up yourself.
Fair enough.
But fair play to Ashley Cole. He made the right decision at the end of the day, and that burns me. That freaking hurts.
Yeah,
because I mean, he was our kid. Do you know what I mean?
We just celebrated the anniversary of Munich, and Ashley Cole in that Champions League run in 2012. Phenomenal player, phenomenal talent.
Yeah. One day it'll be our turn. Don't worry, guys.
Speaking of Munich, Philippe Coutinho has been in the news about a potential move. No, a potential move to the Arsenal.
Where is he? Where is he? What's his club right now?
Munich, Bayern.
But he's on loan, isn't he?
Yeah. So Bayern have decided not to renew it.
Right. Okay.
So Barcelona are now trying to quote unquote offload it for their wages. And so a lot of news has come out today that he started talking to his agents have been talking to Arsenal. So my question to you is, would you take him? Bring
him. I have no problem whatsoever with Philippe Coutinho at Arsenal. You've got to be delusional to not want him there. What are you saying, Adrian?
Ruben, what's the fee and what's the wages?
Oh,
well, I don't know if his contract is done or anything, but
no way.
If you're looking at Barcelona's wages and how much they had to pay to get him, I don't know if Arsenal can afford that or do the
bring. Last year we said we had 10 million to spend and we spent 110. So bring him. I have no other comment but bring him.
Because
he will replace. He will be in that midfield, just behind Pierre and Lacazette, feeding man, bro, and then taking shots from range when he wants to. And then you can drop Ozil, you can drop Ceballos. Ceballos probably won't even be there. But then you got Ozil and Coutinho. You can play around with that. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm here for it. I don't know if Ozil's there next season. Well, you think we will get rid of him?
No, get rid of him. I just don't think he'll just want to play.
Well, if he's not going to play, then I'm playing Coutinho. It's standard procedure. It's not even a. Coutinho gives me goals. He gives me assists. He's a good player. Like, I don't get the notion about him. I just don't get the notion why people diss Coutinho. He is a top player. I'll take it.
Honestly, I think it comes to the fact that he's not 142 million pounds worth of player, and people beat him with that yardstick. But as you said, he's a phenomenal player. And I actually watched a video today, a 4-0 demolition job away at the Olympic Park. You can actually play a deep line playmaker role as well.
Yeah. I remember that game. He was sick in that game. And like you said, the deep line playmaker role. Oh, mate, we've got formations for days for him.
Yeah.
Bring him.
But the only thing is, he spoiled his market because the fee that Barcelona, realistically, it can't be any less than 90 million pounds, surely.
Bro, I don't know. 90 mil, bro.
We might take like a 2-year loan, and then it will be like 40 million at the end of it.
Listen, Barcelona, they want their wage bill to come down, blood. They're load, man. See how many players Griezmann's got to go?
Honestly,
they're talking to Inter Milan about 3 players in a swap deal for Lautaro Martinez.
They're spending money like they're on frigging Congress. Like, I don't get it. They've been trying to.
It's like 600 mil, bro.
How much money? I was going to say, how much money have they spent trying to replace Neymar? How much money? Because Coutinho was one, Griezmann was one, Dembele was one. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, 3 man. Say again?
Dembele is available for 37.
Bring.
I think ever since he missed at the new camp, that figure went down.
Bring.
I saw that video yesterday. Such an L.
Bro, Coutinho, Ousmane Dembele. I'm saying Coutinho, Ousmane Dembele, bring to the Emirates, bro. I'm here for it all day long.
Yeah, I think for first
the only issue with Dembele is injury prone. That's my only annoyance with him.
For 37, I'll take the risk.
Facts. That risk is getting taken, bro. No doubt. No shut
up. I hear you. 37 million. I'll take the risk.
Bring. World Cup winner. Bring. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. All right. Are we wrapping this up?
I ain't got nothing, bro.
Yeah.
All right then, man. All right. Make sure.
Yeah. That's
go on. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say predictions for tomorrow.
Yeah, who's winning the Classica?
Bayern win.
Good, man.
Ooh.
I think it's a draw.
Ooh. Adrian, what are you saying?
Draw.
Do you know what? Yeah, we're gonna see, guys. Bayern Munich put Dortmund in their place. You hear me? In their place, cuz 3-0 Bayern Munich.
Wow.
Yeah, boy. You watch Lewandowski, by the way, on that shower lingy.
Let's not play games. There's Haaland, to be fair.
I mean, he didn't score against Wolfsburg. I'm sensing drought.
one game for Haaland.
One game
does not do a thing.
Bro, 90 plus minutes, bro. The record that he was on, bro. He was scoring games every 30 minutes. Now he's gone 90 minutes without it. Ooh. I'm smelling drought blood.
No, but honestly,
anyway.
Bro, I got fireworks popping off outside, bro. I don't know what the hell is going on there, bro.
They're letting it off, bro. In East London.
Nice.
All right, man. Make sure you share, like, subscribe, everybody. Thank you for locking in. We are at Top 4 Podcast on the Twitter, on the YouTubes, on SoundCloud, on Spotify, on iTunes, and we're everywhere, blood. You get what I'm saying? So make sure you share, like, subscribe. This has been the Top 4 Podcast. Thank you for locking in. Peace.
Peace.
I'm still